I'm Jeremy. Today is day 105 of reading. Today we're reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Let's get started. We're on page 246. See him standing stock still by the door, watching the passage outside. It felt to Harry that they were there for at least an hour. All he could see was the figure of Riddle at the door, staring through the crack, waiting like a statue. And just when Harry had stopped feeling expectant and tense and started wishing he could return to the present, he heard something move beyond the door. Someone was creeping along the passage. He heard whoever it was pass the dungeons where he and Riddle were hidden. Riddle, quiet as a shadow, edged through the door and followed. Harry tiptoeing up behind him, forgetting that he couldn't be heard. For perhaps 5 minutes, they followed the footsteps until Riddle stopped suddenly. His head inclined in the direction of new noises. Harry heard a door creak open, and then someone speaking in a hoarse whisper, "Come on, gotta get you out of here. Or come on now, in the box." There was something familiar about that voice. Riddle suddenly jumped around the corner. Harry stepped out behind him. He could see the dark outline of a huge boy who was crouching in front of an open door, a very large box next to it. Evening, Rubeus," said Riddle sharply. The boy slammed the door shut and stood up. "What you doing down here, Tom?" Riddle stepped closer. "It's all over," he said. "I'm going to have to turn you in, Rubeus. They're talking about closing Hogwarts if the attacks don't stop." I don't think you meant to kill anyone, but monsters don't make good pets. I suppose you just let it out for exercise and it never killed no one," said the large boy, backing against the closing door. From behind him, Harry could hear a funny rustling and clicking. "Come on, Rubeus," said Riddle, moving yet closer. "The dead girl's parents will be here tomorrow. The least Hogwarts can do is make sure that the thing that killed their daughter is slaughtered." "It wasn't him!" roared the boy, his voice echoing in the dark. "Shh! He wouldn't! He never!" "Stand aside," said Riddle, drawing his wand. His spell lit the corridor with a sudden flaming light. The door behind the large boy flew open with such force it knocked him into the wall opposite. And out of it came something that made Harry let out a long, piercing scream unheard by anyone. A vast, low-slung, hairy body and a tangle of black legs, a gleam of many of its eyes, and a pair of razor-sharp pincers. Riddle raised his wand again, but he was too late. The thing bowled him over as he scuttled away, tearing up the corridor and out of sight. Riddle scrambled to his feet. Looking after it, he raised his wand, but the huge boy leaped up at him, seized his wand, and threw him back down, yelling, "No!" The scene whirled. The darkness became complete. Harry felt himself falling, and with a crash, he landed spread-eagled on his four-poster in the Gryffindor dormitory, Riddle's diary lying open on his stomach. Before he had time to regain his breath, the dormitory door opened and Ron came in. "There you are," he said. Harry sat up. He was sweating and shaking. "What's up?" said Ron, looking at him with concern. "It was Hagrid, Ron. Hagrid opened the Chamber of Secrets 50 years ago." Chapter 14. Cornelius Fudge. Harry, Ron, and Hermione had always known that Hagrid had an unfortunate liking for large and monstrous creatures. During their first year at Hogwarts, he had tried to raise a dragon in his little wooden house, and it would be a long time before they forgot the giant three-headed dog he'd christened Fluffy. And if, as a boy, Hagrid had heard that a monster was hidden somewhere in the castle, Harry was sure he had gone to any lengths for a glimpse of it. He'd probably thought it was a shame that the monster had been cooped up so long and thought it deserved the chance to stretch its many legs. He could just imagine the 13-year-old Hagrid trying to fit a leash and collar on it. But he was equally certain that Hagrid would have never meant to kill anybody. Harry half wished he hadn't found out how Riddle's diary worked. Again and again, Ron and Hermione made him recount what he'd seen, until he was heartily sick of telling them and sick of the long, circular conversations that followed. Riddle might have got the wrong person, said Hermione. Maybe it was some other monster that was attacking people. How many monsters do you think this place can hold? Ron asked Julie. We always knew Hagrid had been expelled, said Harry miserably, and the attacks must have stopped after Hagrid was kicked out. Otherwise, Riddle wouldn't have gotten his award. Ron tried a different tack. Riddle does sound like Percy, who asked him to school on Hagrid anyway. But the monster had killed someone, Ron, said Hermione, and Riddle was going back to some Muggle orphanage. If they closed Hogwarts, said Harry, I don't blame him for wanting to stay here. You met Hagrid down Nocturne Alley, didn't you, Harry? He was buying a flesh-eating slug repellent, said Harry quickly. The three of them fell silent. After a long pause, Hermione voiced the naughtiest question of all in a hesitant voice. Do you think we should go and ask Hagrid about it all? That very cheerful visit, said Ron. Hello, Hagrid. Tell us, have you been setting anything mad and Harry loose in the castle lately? In the end, they decided that they would not say anything to Hagrid unless there was another attack. And as more and more days went by with no whisper from the disembodied voice, they became hopeful that they would never need to talk to him about why he had been expelled. It was now nearly 4 months since Justin and Nearly Headless Nick had been petrified, and nearly everyone seemed to think that the attacker, whoever it was, had retired from this for good. Peeves had finally got bored of his "Oh Potter, you rotter" song. Ernie Macmillan asked Harry quite politely to pass a bucket of leaping toadstools in herbology one day, and in March, several of the mandrakes threw a loud and raucous party in the greenhouse 3. This made Professor Sprout very happy. The moment they start trying to move into each other's pots, we'll know they're fully mature, she told Harry. Then we'll be able to revive those poor people in the hospital wing. The second years were giving something to think of about during their Easter holidays. The time had come to choose their subjects for the third year, a matter that Hermione, at least, took very seriously. It could affect their whole future, she told Harry and Ron as they pored over lists of new subjects, marking them with checks. I just want to give up potions, said Harry. We can't, said Ron gloomily. We'll keep all our old subjects, or I'd have ditched defense against dark arts. But that's very important, said Hermione, shocked. Not the way Lockhart teaches it, said Ron. I haven't learned anything from him except not to set pixies loose. Nevada Longbottom had been sent letters from all the witches and wizards in his family, all giving him different advice on what to choose. Confused and worried, he sat reading the subject list with, Thank you, everyone. That's all for today. Bye. See you tomorrow, and Happy New Year's. 2025.